Hey everybody, welcome back. Sports Frenzy 2.0. Hopefully all technical issues resolved. I think we're back on track, back on schedule. Good to be with you. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height, and damn it, the technical issues last week. We had a phenomenal one in the books
Even
on our
we were doing,
NFL recap of the Super Bowl.
yeah,
and
we were doing
everything.
it over Zoom and it was working great.
Oh,
Probably a little bit off in terms of audio, but still really good. And yes, I do not want to disparage our main platform host, but there was something wrong with Spotify. I'm sorry. There was something wrong with Spotify that lasted all through taping the weekend edition, taping the regular edition. So it looks like everything's back to normal. So that means you get a full show of us, not just half a show with me.
that's right. The brains and entertainment behind it all are back.
And the anger is still here to supplement all that. Of course, we are taping here, as I mentioned, back on schedule. So this is Wednesday night, February the 23rd. This will hit as usually, always,
of the time.
The morning of the 24th. Again, glad to be back on a normal schedule. Glad to have you back with us. This is episode 8 of 2022 for us. And for the first time in a long, long time, we are not going to start with football.
No, rev up the engines, kids. Daytona 500 recap.
The Great American Race last Sunday.
Wasn't quite the Great American Race.
It was
decent.
Good. It was enough to keep your attention.
Yeah, you kept waiting for them to figure something out with the next gen car during the race, but it was very lackluster in terms of anybody being able to make a move.
And you did have 3 significant crashes. Of course, the big one, the first one with Harrison Burton.
Yeah.
Flipping over.
That was Brad really Keselowski causing 2.
3. He was involved in 3 incidents, technically.
Yeah.
Yes.
Involved in 3, but the direct cause of 2.
Yep. And as we've always said on this show, when we pick our drivers for these races in our competition, I will never, ever, ever burn a top 5 driver on a super speedway ever. Just ask 3 of our 8 panelists last week who used Denny Hamlin and got 1 point.
Yep. And Larson did not fare much better.
No, he got a couple bonus points from where he finished in the duels, but that was about it. Yeah.
Yeah, there was, it was bad. And, I took what would have been the safe pick with Austin Dillon, but with whatever issues, then wound up a lap down and got 17 points out of him for his finish, but
right.
Not horrendous, but not what it should have been.
Yeah, and I feel fortunate that I got 41 out of Ryan Blaney. I mean, that's like gold on a super speedway, even though he didn't get a win.
Yep.
He got the 8 bonus points for finishing 3rd in one of the duels. He tried to make the move at the end. I was scared to death, though, because he got pinned up against the wall. And if they had to go another lap,
teammates,
he never would have been able to finish even close to the top 10.
Congratulations. And that was an awesome block by his teammate, Austin Cindric.
Yes.
To get his first win.
And it shouldn't surprise anybody. This is the problem I have with super speedway racing is that I'm not disparaging Austin Cindric, but it is not a true test of how good of a race car driver you are. It really isn't.
No, it's how lucky you can be at being able to pick up the draft or get the shove at the right moment, especially with this next gen car. You cannot make a move on your own to make up any ground or make a pass. You have got to have somebody glued to your bumper or get a shove to go anywhere with this car.
Right. And that's why
I hate it.
Cindric and Blaney obviously were the best team, the best duo, like you're talking about, that were up front for a big portion of the last part of the race.
Yeah, they were able to stay connected.
Right.
And it worked out that they were able to pull that off.
Right.
But no, I do not like the way this car races in the draft. You have got to have something where you don't need the help like that to be able to make a move.
Yeah. But like you said, it was not the greatest race in the world.
It was better than the 2-car tandem drafting that we had years ago.
Right. And again, we did have 3 wrecks that kind of created some problems. As we said, Denny Hamlin's now starting in a deep, dark hole. William Byron in a deep, dark hole. Kyle Larson clinging to the edge of that deep, dark hole.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys you wouldn't expect right now after, of course, only one race at the top of the standings. Now, Martin Truex did win both stages, which helped him a lot.
Yeah.
Despite the fact he got caught up in the end at something. So at least points-wise, he ended up okay.
Yeah. Not too bad there, but yeah. And again, more problems with this next-gen car, too. With the single lug on the wheels, which was supposed to prevent problems, well, unless they're lined up just perfectly, the lug is not going to seal and the wheels are going to fall off.
And that was scared me again with Blaney, my pick, because after his first stop, I'd heard they were talking in the booth about, it doesn't sound like they're comfortable or confident that they got everything seated just right.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we had the issues with, people tampering with the tires.
You're always going to have that.
But there were no penalties, as far as I've heard, that were handed down for that.
No. But then you also had one of the rims break, too.
Yeah. Yep.
So there's still some things to be ironed out here.
But again, congrats to Austin Cindric.
Kept himself out of trouble and
had a really solid, nice race. Now let's see what he can do. Again, like we were saying, Trevor Bayne, David Reagan, Eric Almirola, Ricky Stenhouse, people that win on super speedways or run really well.
McDonald from last year.
They don't follow through on it, and they really don't do anything outside of super speedway racing.
Right.
So
let's see what happens at Fontana.
Exactly. Now Chase Elliott
gets a 5-year extension.
Gee, shocking. NASCAR's most popular driver.
Staying with the most successful team.
Champion just, 2 seasons ago.
Yep. Expect to be in contention again.
Now that had to be a little disappointing, though. Hendrick, of course, qualifies so well at Daytona, but they did not have a good Daytona 500.
They did not have a good showing at all.
No. Again, caught up in stuff, but at the same time, great to get out there on your own and show you can run faster than anybody. But like you said, you get in a draft, you have to work with people, you have to run in packs.
Yeah.
Hendrick still is not that great at that yet. No. I mean, it's, again, a crapshoot. It can be spread all over. Fords, Chevys, Toyotas. It's all equal. It really is all equal on a super speedway to me.
Yeah, it is.
Luck.
There's a lot of luck involved.
Can you hook up with somebody? And we're not just talking about after the race at a bar. We're talking about during the race, people. Get your minds out of the gutter! God damn it! We're talking about sports here, not sex. We'll save that for later. Now, right. I do have a complaint before we get to our picks for Fontana. And you might say, oh, here we go. The Maestro is being a nasty, bitter, old conservative man again, which I am. Did you see Bubba Wallace's interview after the race?
No, I turned off any post-race stuff because it was dinner time.
I'm trying my best. I know NASCAR is a white bread Southern sport at its core, at its heart. I get that. And a lot of people hate that, the Confederate flag. I get it. Believe me, I get it. Bubba Wallace is doing himself no favors with his attitude, going back to the news thing. And now he finishes second. Good for him. He's turning into one of these guys we're talking about.
Who can run a super speedway.
Right. He's really starting to come into play for the next 5-10 years as one of those guys you might want to pick for Talladega or Daytona. But they go to him and interview him, and he's just so arrogant. He barely acknowledges. He kind of looks over his shoulder and goes, oh, that guy, oh, it's Cindric. Yeah, good for him. Couldn't even bother
to say congratulations
he couldn't
on
even
your
give
first win.
Right. No, I'm pissed because I didn't win. Oh, my God. It's me. Jesus God. Bubba, get over yourself.
And the only reason he got second was that little melee that was taking place.
I would just tell Bubba, hey, settle down. Enjoy your endorsements with McDonald's.
Learn
he's
to
doing
be,
DoorDash right now.
You got to learn how to speak to the media like all drivers have had to do.
He's turning into Kyle Busch 2.0 is what he's turning into.
Yep, that's where I was going.
Yep. All right, so all that being said, we know you want football. We know you want basketball. We know you want baseball. So we will wrap up NASCAR with race 2 coming up this Sunday, the 27th of February. The Wise Power 400 from Fontana, California, Auto Club Speedway. They have not raced here in 2 years.
Yep, it's been a while.
Because of COVID. Because of all the lockdowns.
Because of stupid California.
Gavin Newsom put on California. So, that being said, there are some interesting things to consider here. Kyle Larson is the overwhelming favorite with the odds makers, but he's going to be the favorite at almost every track this year because of how dominant he was last year.
Exactly. You can't take that away from him, but as we've been talking about, it's a brand new car. There's a lot of unknowns.
There's a brand new car, number one, great point. Number two, you got to remember, no race last year at Fontana. Kyle Larson hasn't been on this track ever with Hendrick Motorsports.
That's right.
So we don't know with all these other factors, the new car being in a Hendricks car.
What are the new tires going to do? They're bigger tires. What's the tire wear going to be like? Obviously, it wasn't much at Daytona because they rarely changed the left sides.
Right. So I'm staying away from Kyle Larson. You people out there, you want him? Go for it. We limit ourselves to 3 picks per driver over the first 26 races. So we are not, Dave and I are not touching Kyle Larson.
Not yet.
Right now, nobody in our panel is. So, that being said, it looks like a lot of us are going with Mr. Tried and True at Fontana. Going back in history, that would be Mr. Dirty Bush.
Yep. The aforementioned Kyle, who has no media presence. Actually, he's gotten a little better.
I think he's a little humble this year because now he's losing his primary sponsor. So there is uncertainty in his future.
Yeah, so he's got to tone down his whole attitude a little bit.
Yeah, we all know how important sponsors are to these drivers. And with Kyle Busch losing M&Ms after this season, pressure's up a little bit on Kyle.
Yes,
the two-time champion. Now, I'm taking Kyle. So is Sam, Bill, Nick, and Aaron. 5 of the 8 of us so far. Mrs. C still got a pick pending.
Yep.
Deadline is a couple hours away.
I am rolling the dice with Mr. Wrecker from Daytona. I'm taking Keselowski.
And I tell you what, when you sent that pick to me today, I thought that could be a good pick because I'll tell you what, that car ran a lot better in the 500 than I saw it running in qualifying.
He won one of the duels.
Yeah, once he got to the duels, the car showed up. He showed up.
They figured something out.
Exactly. So I think that could be a really good pick for you. And then Doug is taking Kevin Harvick, who does have a good history at Fontana. I
But
just worry.
Stuart Haas has not run well the last couple years.
Exactly.
They have struggled.
I agree with you completely. And I'm wondering if Kevin Harvick is kind of over the hump, per se.
Yeah, doing the downside.
Yeah, are we looking at the final year or two of the Kevin Harvick experience? As much as I love him, I would like to see Stuart Haas get back on their feet and really reestablish themselves.
Yeah, because they lost something big time last year.
Well, look at the booth last week, Daytona 500. You had two of the best drivers for them in the last 6 years in the booth, not in cars, with Boyer and Stewart.
Yeah. Gee, Tony, maybe you should worry about the ownership part. They were good to listen to.
And then Eric Almirola, of course, done after this year. So
yeah,
they got some work to do at Stuart Haas.
Yeah, and Tony's split now because he's got that team and he's also got the NHRA teams.
And he's still involved in SRX.
Yep.
So sometimes success will bite you in the ass.
Yep.
You split
diversification isn't always for the better.
You split your attention port to port to port to port. One of those ports
is going to start to decay a little bit.
Yep. All right, we will get now to our NFL topics of the week. I know Dave is dying to tell you about the ongoing scandal involving Brian Flores, his former coach with the Miami Dolphins.
Who should be the Bears coach, but that's another story. No, congratulations to Brian Flores getting an assistant defensive coach position with the Steelers. That is a great landing spot for him. With that defense, he should do very well over there helping them out. But came out now, more fodder for his lawsuit, with coming out with the separation agreement that the Dolphins tried to get him to sign to get all of his money, which had a non-disclosure agreement in it. And he said he wouldn't sign it, so he gave up the money. Dolphins came out and said, no, there was nothing like that. Well, Flores' attorneys came out and showed the screenshot of said separation agreement with signatures from Dolphins personnel on it. This is getting interesting, kids.
Yeah, definitely good he's got a job. Would have been an absolute shame if he didn't get a job somewhere.
Yeah. It
would have looked
really
fed into the conspiracy theorists a little bit more.
Yeah, but it was Mike Tomlin who brought him onto the staff.
The whole problem with the Steelers is, like a lot of other teams, and it's going to get crazy here in the next month or so, kids. They're saying on the surface, a lot of people, yeah, we love Mason Rudolph. We love bullshit.
No, you
bullshit.
There's going to be some wheeling and dealing.
You need to get a free agent quarterback in there, or you're going to have to get a quarterback in the first round in a weak quarterback draft.
What's that? Pittsburgh calling on Mitch?
I'm hearing the Giants. Brian Daboll might bring Mitch in to compete with Daniel Jones. And that's how exasperated the Giants fans are with Daniel Jones, is they would actually welcome that and probably give Mitch the edge because he's had a little bit more success, believe it or not, than
sadly,
Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Crazy times.
More scandal, more controversy. Deshaun Watson, you thinking about trading for him as your quarterback?
Yeah, you might want to avoid that one again.
A judge ruled this week that he can be deposed, can be questioned in 9 civil cases filed against him because there are no criminal complaints attached to these 9 cases.
Right.
He can be deposed in these.
Because of course, the civil.
There's another 12 or 13 with criminal charges pending.
Right. That we're still waiting to find out.
boy, this is really going to be
Oof.
interesting in a bad way, in a bad, scandalous way.
Yes,
And
yes,
the Houston
it is.
Texans, wow, timing was awful. They give him an extension, and boom,
this is what
confetti.
happens.
Here you go.
And this is the guy the Dolphins owner Stephen Ross wanted to tamper with to bring in.
Well, talent-wise, the guy is a top 5 quarterback. Nobody's going to argue that.
Oh, no, not at all.
But again, when
with
does
that
the judgment,
looming,
when does the personal responsibility come into play with these guys? When do you realize, as we say on the show all the time, it seems like week after week,
use your
keep
damn
your
brains.
nose clean until you're 40 and then go hook up with 15 hookers in a room. Go do it then. Don't destroy your career and your money-making years between the ages of 22 and 40. Don't do it. God!
Quit ruining your lives, people.
Speaking of somebody trying to ruin his life, in my opinion, the lateral thinker is back.
Why do we even have to discuss it? This is what he wants. This is why he does this stupid shit, so people keep talking about him.
Well, it all started with his Instagram post where he was thanking everybody under the sun. Shailene Woodley, all his teammates, all his friends.
His coach.
Oh my God, you're so great. I love you all so much. Thank you, Shailene, for letting me chase you and then catch you.
2 years together, 2 MVPs.
And then, of course, everybody reading this on Instagram and initially thinks he's either drunk or he's smoking a bowl. Because this is way too loopy.
He's inoculating himself again.
Yeah. But then he comes out and he tells his buddy Pat McAfee on his podcast that he was just finishing up a 12-day cleanse. Have you heard about this, Dave? Have you heard about the steps involved in this?
You have to be an absolute moron to attempt this.
I have seen the details on this. I have read through them. Oh my God.
He's starting tomorrow.
No, I'm not. Jesus God. A cleanse to me is taking a couple extra tablets of Metamucil.
Drinking a bottle of kombucha.
This is
kombucha or whatever it is.
This is throw up the first day. Shove butter up your nose. Shove oil up your ass. It's just, what the hell are you doing to yourself? And it comes, oh yeah, now I feel great, better than ever. Like, dude, you got butter on the brain. What do you do? How do you, as a professional athlete, if I was Green Bay, I'd be like,
what the?
Number one, I'm sorry, throwing up is not good.
No, it's not.
It destroys your esophagus. It destroys your teeth. The acid's coming up from your stomach. Eat
you keep
away
doing
at
that, you're going to wind up with ulcers, not only in your esophagus, but in your stomach.
So again, this is just Mr. Lateral Thinker talking about how he's so much smarter than us, and he's found a way, just like he did with COVID. He's beat the system. He knows how to achieve physical, mental, spiritual purity by puking and shoving butter up his nose and Crisco up his ass.
That's what you get when you smoke a bowl of crystal meth, kids.
I would not want this guy anywhere near my team if I was a GM for $45 million. Come on. Next thing he's going to pull a Richard Gere and get a tube and stick a gerbil up in his duodenum or his colon and say, Ravi Shankar told him to do it. I'm living life like the Beatles. I'm listening to my spiritual guru. My spirit animal right now is nested in my lower colon. Jesus God, he is an idiot. It's amazing to me he's a 4-time MVP. It's amazing to me.
I know.
And then, of course, the other conspiracy is, of course, we talked about Shailene Woodley and him broke up.
Or did they?
Because when he was on the Pat McAfee show, there was a woman laughing in the background, and they have compared this in this day and age, shouldn't shock you,
audio comparison, kids,
to when Shailene Woodley was on Jimmy Kimmel, I think, or maybe Fallon. It might have been Fallon.
Yeah.
And they took her laugh from that and compared it to the laugh they heard in the background while he was doing Pat McAfee's show, and it sounds identical. And of course he goes, it's just the TV. I've got one, he's acting like I've got one over on you.
He's an idiot. Ugh.
All right, finally, this one's minor compared to all this stuff. But, of course, a couple hours south of us, they have the combine every year, the scouting combine in Indianapolis. There was a little bit of a minor coup possibly brewing there a few days ago, because there's still, for some reason in Indianapolis,
still in
the bubble. They didn't want to put the bubble on. They want to lock all these kids down, and the agents were saying, we're not going to put up with it anymore.
We're done with this.
Yeah, you're keeping them away from certain people like nutritionists that these kids need to consult during the week.
Right. There's a lot that needs to go on during this week, and they cannot be in a damn bubble.
Right. So finally, they backed off. Everything looks like it's copacetic. Looks like it's good. Gee, compromise. Wouldn't that be nice if baseball could figure that out?
Oh, yeah, it would be lovely, wouldn't it? But no, these douchebags can't pull their own heads out of their asses, or I should say wallets. The greed.
Guess what's coming next, kids? Next segment?
Baseball.
We'll be right back.
Very, very bad to us. This episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0 is brought to you by the Bills Mafia Marital Aid Company, because when you are down and out, we'll bring you back up and in the game. Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher. Hey kids, welcome back to Sports Frenzy 2.0. Here as we're preparing for the California Penal League as Major League Baseball's locked out.
Penal? You really want to go there right after your brand new Bills Mafia promo and the marital aid?
Why
you want to go penal?
Yes, I do.
And best of all, we're not done talking about penises yet. I got something later on, kids.
He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
Rubbing his temples with a headache-inducing co-host. I am the maestro. He is the conquistador, Dave Height.
Here we are, February 23rd. This will drop the 24th. We're talking Major League Baseball and the stupidity and greed that these assholes can't figure out.
Yeah, of course, they said, oh, we're trying. We're meeting every day. We're meeting every day, even though they have said the drop-dead date to start the regular season on time, because spring training has already been delayed.
Right.
Officially, is the 28th of February.
If they don't have Monday.
If they don't have anything resolved, end of day Monday, we will not get baseball as scheduled on opening day.
Yep, there will not be a full season, and players will not be paid accordingly. So I guess good for MLB for putting the hard date in there to get things moving. But come on, the problem is the players want way too damn much money. The owners want to be too damn stingy. And we've talked about it over and over. The way to fix the economics, to get players more money, to keep the owners satisfied, raise the damn minimum amount, raise the floor, put in a hard floor and a hard cap. No more luxury tax bullshit. 200 million max you can go, 100 million the minimum to spend.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with these guys, the economic guys, and ask them what is wrong with that scenario. Because you and I have, of course, agreed on this. That is the way to solve all this. Now, I'm not getting into the weeds with, the arbitration stuff. they're better suited to deal with that than I am. But as a fan, a fairly knowledgeable fan like you, I look at this and I go, again, I want to side with the owners because I understand business and I understand how they're trying to make money. And it goes back to last year with the COVID situation where the players didn't want to play a full season but wanted to be paid for a full season. Right. That is not economically feasible, especially when you're not going to have anybody in the stands buying popcorn, buying shirts, buying hats, buying beer.
How about just buying tickets?
Right. On top of all that. And the players are like, well, you should still pay us our 30, 40 million. The top end guys. You know, it's unreasonable. And I'm hearing a lot of people siding with the players in this. And I don't understand why. Because competitive balance needs to be the focal point of what the baseball owners and the players do right now. And the players don't want it. The players want to bump up the luxury tax threshold.
So 4 teams can spend more money than anybody should be allowed. And then you're still going to have 10 teams barely putting anything out on the field.
Right.
And a lot of other middling
and of course,
franchises.
The devil in the details, the devil behind the scenes, Scott Boras, doesn't care about the future of the sport. He cares about right now making as much money as he can get before he dies, which isn't a day too soon. Mr. Boras, your reservation on the Sports Frenzy plane of death is waiting for you at the ticket office.
Front row seat.
How does it make any sense? You bump up the luxury tax threshold 20 or 25 million. Okay, great. That's 100 million. That's 100 million. Let's look at it this way. Mets spend 25 million more. Yankees spend 25 million more. Dodgers spend 25 million more. Red Sox spend 25 million more.
So what? You got 4 teams.
That's 100 million, right? That goes to the high end.
That's
basically the high end.
That's one player per team.
Right.
That's it. 1 player per 4 players benefit from that. That's it. What good does that do everybody else? Nothing.
But of course, New York fans love it because our 2 teams will get spent all. You are so short-sighted and so selfish.
The problem
that you would rather destroy baseball just so your teams could buy championships over the next 10 years. I'm assuming that would be the term of this next collective bargaining agreement. You will destroy baseball. Nobody outside of the East Coast or the West Coast will give a rat's shit about baseball.
No, and that's the problem why baseball's ratings are declining so much is there's no competitive balance. They're doing nothing to fix the game. They're doing nothing to try and shorten the game up because 4-hour games are freaking ridiculous.
And right now, from what I've heard, all that stuff is off the table. They're not even looking outside of the DH. Will become universal.
I
agree.
They are so screwed up in their priorities, it's not even funny. This is why baseball has the worst freaking commissioner out there.
Yeah, Rob Manfred is not doing anything in terms of advancing the game, a game that is flailing, a game that is faltering, and he is doing nothing to get it to the masses, doing nothing to make it more appealing, picking up the pace of the game so younger people can enjoy it, so younger people can get into it.
Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal the way this sport is being run into the ground.
Make the Orioles, make the Rays, make the Pirates, make the Royals, make everybody on the bottom pay
Colorado,
15,
Arizona.
Get them up to 100 million. I'm telling you, it's going to be better than letting 4 teams have an extra 25 million. I don't see how that doesn't make any sense to these morons on both sides. This is a problem on both sides. They're both idiots. Owners, players, they're all idiots.
They don't get it. The death of the game is coming.
It's the classic snake eating its tail. Yep. Give me now. Give me now. We want money now. 20 years from now, who gives a rat shit?
You're playing a damn kid's game.
I'm telling you, this will go back to the early 90s. Remember?
Oh, I know.
And then they had to give everybody steroids and get McGuire and Sosa juiced up to bring everybody back. So what's going to be the trick you're going to pull now to get everybody back, Mr. Manfred?
Ugh. It's so damn frustrating.
And now, one other tidbit, which affects me more than you, because you've still got locally here the NBC Chicago Sports Network, so you can watch the White Sox on that. And that's readily available through most outlets here, whether it's cable or streaming. I, of course, got screwed with the Marquee Network.
Yeah.
And I refuse to give up my streaming package, which has everything I want except for the Marquee Network. Sinclair, they are the Scott Boras of baseball broadcasters. Yep. Sinclair has finally said they might be willing to offer the regional sports networks that they control, like Marquee Network, a la carte. This is coming from Chris Ripley, the Sinclair CEO, as he was filing down the horns sprouting from the top of his head. As he said, direct consumer is what we're looking at. It's a feasible model. Here's where I'm talking about Hellboy shaving off his horns. He's looking at a model, which they're talking about rolling out here tentatively once this lockout maybe possibly ends. $20 a month.
What?
$20 a month for the one regional network so you can watch your baseball team.
That's ridiculous.
And here's the insulting thing. He basically says, I'm paraphrasing, but it's damn close. He basically acts like everybody's a lemming. Baseball fans are lemmings. Oh, I think they'll pay whatever we put out there, but we'll start at 20.
No, bullshit. Bullshit.
Can't show you my middle finger on a podcast, Mr. Ripley, but here it is.
Sit and spin, you devil.
$20 a month to watch Cubs games?
You're better off shelling out for the
$120 a year to watch
You're
Cubs
better
regular
off getting the
season
MLB
games.
Network for that.
But you can't. That's the problem. That's where they've got you.
Oh,
this will override the regional blackout rule.
Jesus. Come on.
This is the only way here for us. And of course, there's other fans across the country watching other teams or wanting to watch other teams that can't because of what I'm going through. This is the only way you can override the regional blackout rule.
That's bullshit.
$20 a month.
Hell no.
That's so fucking expensive.
Isn't that what you pay per month for your streaming service with everything else? Or pretty damn close?
It's a third.
That's ridiculous.
That would be a third of what I pay for every other sports channel, every other regular cable channel with an unlimited DVR.
That's bullshit.
And he wants me to tack another 20 on top of that?
Screw you.
Just to watch Cubs regular season games.
Hell no.
I would consider half. If he cut it to 10, maybe.
Oh,
maybe.
Bullshit. No. That's still too damn much.
It is still too damn much. Remember years ago when all this stuff started to fracture and cable companies were starting to really get outrageous with their pricing, and then the streaming services came in, who was the one company that everybody zeroed in on? ESPN.
Yep.
Everybody said ESPN is the problem. They're the ones that are jacking up
all the
overall, whether you have Comcast, Spectrum, wherever you live, whatever it might be.
ESPN was the devil of broadcast charges.
You're not paying close to $20 a month for all the ESPN channels.
No, not even close.
I think it's $6 or $7, maybe $8 out of your total cable package is going to ESPN.
And Marquee?
$20?
$20? Hell no.
And this is why, as much as I love YouTube
and they don't
TV,
even have any damn
YouTube
content.
TV will not even talk to them.
No, there's no point.
There's no point in talking to you at these ridiculous numbers. And again, this is what's killing baseball.
Yep. Just one more nail in the coffin.
All right, I'm done with baseball. I'm done. So let's talk about something really, really good, heartwarming. Oh, wait, no.
No. More crap continues.
We moved to college basketball and the big controversy of the week in sports. Juwan Howard taking a swing, a slap, whatever you want to call it, at a Wisconsin assistant coach and getting next to nothing when it comes to any kind of penalty that Michigan gave him.
Ooh, we suspended him for the rest of the regular season, the final 5 games. The regular season, really? So he gets to come back for the Big Ten tournament. They make the NCAA. He gets to coach in that.
Or the NIT.
Or NIT. It is nothing. This is absolute bullshit by Michigan. It is, anybody else in their job, if they hit a coworker or a customer, they lose their job. They're done.
Yeah, and I'm not
no ifs, ands, or buts. That's automatic dismissal.
And I'm not even saying, I will try to be, for a moment, before I really get into this, a voice of reason and say, I wouldn't have fired him. Because to me, athletics, you do get heated. It's part of the intensity of sports. That being said, completely agree. 5 games, rest of the season, as they conveniently say rest of the season to make it sound more imposing. It's 5 games. It's basically 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's nothing.
It is an absolute joke.
All right. At the top of the show, Dave, of course, said he's the rational one. He's the sane one. He's the intelligent one. And I'm the troublemaker. So guess what I'm going to do?
You're going to cause trouble.
If a white coach had hit a black coach like this,
bye-bye.
Fired, assault charges filed the next day. The next day, assault charges would have been filed. That guy would have lost his job, never to work again on any level in basketball. Hypocrisy. Typical hypocrisy in our world today. I'll leave it at that. The one thing I will say, though, what kind of example does he set for his players? Did you notice how they jumped in and they started throwing punches?
Yep. They wasted no time emulating their coach.
Michigan sends a terrible message.
We're going to accept this.
So the next time this happens, guess what? Michigan's players are going to come out throwing punches. Hey, if our coach didn't really get in a lot of trouble.
And how is that going to lead them to the next level in the NBA?
Well, geez.
And for that matter, are you going to wind up with another Alvin Kamara situation outside the court?
I could see all of it happening. All of it, unfortunately. I really could.
The precedent is god-awful.
Again.
There is not enough of a punishment that it could have come down.
Between athletes and celebrities getting pampered treatment day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out.
No accountability.
Somebody has got to make these people accountable. Just because you're in the public eye, just because you have money, you have to pay the same. I'd be happy with 80% of the same penalty that people like Dave and I would have to pay in the same situation if we did what they did.
Ugh. Frustrating on every
of course,
level.
There was a voice of sanity later on in the week because, of course, the idiots in social media.
Oh, you got to stop the handshake line. We can't give them an opportunity. No, that's bullshit. That's part of what should be the sportsmanship of the game.
Tom Izzo was the one that came out and said, come on, are you people serious? Talking about getting rid of the handshake line?
Tom Izzo as the voice of reason. Really?
Yeah.
But yeah, come on.
Can't wait for the next time Juwan Howard and Tom Izzo face off Michigan State. Yeah. That'll be great.
But no, again, classic overreaction on social media.
Yep, each and every day, every issue, overreaction. Now, of course, as we head into March Madness, a couple weeks away, Gonzaga now unanimous number one. Can't say it's shocking.
Nope.
Notre Dame 19-8, second in the ACC. Looks like Mike Bray is going to get in a tournament again.
And be another one and done.
Hurricanes 20-8. Jim Larinaga doing a great job again with Miami. But because Notre Dame's got a little bit better record in the ACC, Miami is third. But it looks like both the Fighting Irish and the Hurricanes are heading to the big dance.
Whoop-de-doo.
I think the Hurricanes could do some damage. I do. I like Larinaga a lot. Of course, you know how I feel about Mike Bray.
The guy who rides his starters to death where they're gassed by the end of the game because he doesn't know how to use his bench players.
I'm just surprised the guy isn't popping aspirin and shaving
during the game.
On the sidelines during the game because he looks like he just came off a 3-day bender every game. Jesus Christ, man, have some pride in your appearance.
Have some respect for yourself.
And Notre Dame, one of the most staid, staunch, religious schools in the country, lets him just show up looking like he just came off the set of Old School 2.
He just pulled himself out of the gutter.
Where's Bradley Cooper? Hangover Part 4. Where's Ed Helms with his boobs? It's always a party when Mike Bray's around.
There you go. Ken Young would love to hang out with this guy.
Oh, my God. Oh, the NBA, it was the All-Star break. The joke that is the All-Star game did happen. Team LeBron beat Team Durant 163-160. I didn't realize, here's the thing, this is how little I care about this crap, is that they showed LeBron, of course, he was such an egomaniac the whole week, talking about, I'm going to figure out a way to play with my kid, Bronny, when he gets drafted. I'm going to make it happen. Of course you are. He's talking about how he's the GOAT. You're not ever going to be the GOAT. Michael Jordan is the GOAT.
You cannot proclaim yourself. It does not work that way.
But again, he hits a fadeaway jumper to win the game. Of course, it's in Cleveland, so everybody's like, oh, karma? Does this mean LeBron's coming back to Cleveland? Now that they're good again? Now they got a good young core? Is he going to jump ship again and ruin this team? But of course, I'm like, it's a two-pointer. How did they win 163 to 160? Because they say the first to 163 is the winner. That's why. So it was a two-pointer, but because it got them to 163, that was an automatic win. They set a point limit, is what they do now with the All-Star game. Whoever scores 163 first wins the game. So that's why the two-pointer was a winning shot, even though they won by three. I'm like, what the hell? What are you trying to do?
That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever.
And I'll tell you what. Steph Curry, he's the man. Steph
Curry is a badass on the court.
I'll take Steph Curry over LeBron James any day. That man was shooting from half court. He was doing his cleanse like Aaron Rodgers, shooting the ball out of his ass, throwing it up, and he was hitting from everywhere. And no rim, nothing but net. Greatest shooter of all time by far. I'll take Steph Curry any day over LeBron James.
Agreed.
Guess what? Guess who's got better chance to win a ring this year?
Steph Curry.
Take that, LeBron.
With your old broke-down Lakers team.
Slam dunk champion Obi Toppin of the Knicks. Three-point champion Karl Anthony Towns of the Timberwolves. He played a couple minutes in the game, but Chris Paul of the Suns, who are actually the top seed in the West, now out 6 to 8 weeks with a broken thumb. He played with the broken thumb. He knew he had a broken thumb, but he
still
wanted
went
to
out,
play a
wanted
couple
to
minutes.
at least get in and
give the fans something.
Yeah, instead of just bowing out.
All right, last thing in the NBA, because I want to fire you up as we go into our second break. Again, problem with the NBA. Problem with a lot of sports. Problem with the NBA. Okay, the Knicks are a mess.
Big time. Trading people.
They just signed this past offseason Kemba Walker. Bad knees. Used to be a decent player.
The 25, 35, 40-year-old man.
They couldn't trade him. Trade deadline's passed. Now word comes out today they've agreed. Thibodeau, front office, he's just not going to play. He's just going to get paid for the rest of the year. He's got to get ready for next season. There is no injury involved. He's just old. He's got bad knees. Old by NBA standards. I mean, he's not old.
No, but
he's just going to get paid to sit on the bench and do nothing. With what, over a third of the season left.
That's ridiculous.
They've just agreed that he doesn't fit their system. Thibodeau doesn't like him. So he's just going to basically sit there and do nothing. I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Play Words with Friends or whatever that new word game is
Wordle.
On his phone. Wordle. Yeah, he's going to play Wordle on the bench and get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to do it.
That's ridiculous.
Baseball players want guaranteed salaries, $300, $400 million.
No guaranteed money. That's why the NFL is so good.
You pay a guy a part of what he's worth. And then if he performs, he gets the rest.
If it doesn't work, you can cut him and be done.
And he can go off to another team and prove himself and go and get another contract.
Exactly.
And get the same damn big money again. But prove yourself. Play up to the level
Teams
of your
should
abilities.
Not be held hostage by the contracts.
I cannot stand this. In the day and age we're living in, with the highest inflation in 40 years,
and these guys
pampered athletes are getting
money.
paid to sit on their ass and do nothing.
Must be nice.
Now, see, if I was Kemba Walker and I wanted to really be a good guy, knowing that I'm not going to have to do jack shit for the rest of the year, I would donate half my salary to charities, local charities. I'd say I still got to pay the mortgage, of course, because I've got a big multi-million-dollar mansion somewhere. Half my money would go to a charity. Say, I don't have to work. Let me give the money to other people who are not working, who need the help. You think these guys ever have a thought like that? Their little stupid pea brains.
Very few of them do. Very few do.
Oh, so good to be back. Doing a regular show. With my brother from another mother, the Conquistador, Dave Height. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane. One last segment left. Got to pick up some odds and ends. And of course, dumbasses of the week.
Moments of silence.
All that, well, I want to say good stuff now that you brought death into the picture. Thanks, Dave.
All the stuff.
Thanks for being a downer.
All the stuff that's left. Looks like we need to call the Bills Mafia.
Stay tuned. We will be right back. Segment 3 coming up in just a short moment. Are you having trouble falling asleep behind the wheel of your expensive SUV? Are you finding difficulty in avoiding golf clubs thrown at you by your angry wife as you pull out of the driveway? Sign up today for the Tiger Woods Driving School, sponsored by Sports Frenzy 2.0. We'll show you how to text Ladies of the Night while still driving effectively in the wee hours of the morning. We'll also teach you how to ditch a suspicious backpack when you end up driving into a ditch. Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, for updates on our latest classes, including how to curse and swear in front of uptight golf fans and their children and still be adored by millions. The Tiger Woods Driving School. It's great. Hey there, hi there, ho there. Welcome back. Segment 3, Sports Frenzy 2.0, taping here on the 23rd of February, 2022. This will hit tomorrow morning, the 24th. I am the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
I'm the Conquistador, Dave Height.
Good to be back. Technical issues have been resolved. Doing a regular, full freaking episode of all the things you love about Sports Frenzy. The fun, the jokes, the hatred, the un-PC crap. You're getting it all this week. Speaking of which, let's talk about the Olympics.
Oh, God.
Thank God they're over. Thank God.
Thank you. Now can we get some freaking regular programming back on the air?
Well, this will tell you how little Americans cared. Ratings overall down 55% from 2018.
Ouch.
55%. I think there's a lot to discuss in there. I think, number one, the involvement of China hurt a lot.
That's a big thing.
People got pissed off about that.
The bullshit of the Russians still being able to compete.
And cheat
their way through everything.
And I unfortunately think a lot of it's got to do with the fact that people just aren't that proud of America right now.
Nobody cares about the Olympics, period, because, again, it's the same damn thing. They're not amateurs anymore. It's the same people competing in all these international competitions. They've got all the sponsorship dollars coming in. It's not special anymore like it used to be.
Well, of course, politics get woven into it. PC crap gets woven into it. We're supposed to root for people that really we don't like. We've talked about this 2 weeks ago. You've got an American-born woman competing for China. How are we supposed to feel any national pride?
You've got a couple of them doing that. And, I mean...
Oh, there it is. That was the sound of Dave rubbing his head.
And you wonder why I'm bald. The stupidity of it all. No, the Olympics have lost that specialty, that specialness that they used to hold. Where you hope to see these young up-and-coming athletes. They're not young up-and-coming athletes anymore. They're professionals.
Yep.
And you just don't have those stories to get behind anymore.
Yep. I agree completely. And it's just, again, I'm going to focus, being Mr. Negative, focus on the fact that I think the media has drained us in terms of national pride. You and I probably have more national pride than most people out there, and we're not watching the Olympics.
No, for obvious reasons that I just
Corporate
said.
Sellout. Yep. The athletes aren't amateurs anymore. There's no thrill. There is no special pride or special moment involved.
The athletes don't take it seriously anymore.
Since we're negative, let's stay negative.
Sure, why not?
As I like to say, let's beat a dead horse. Whoop! Sorry! Sorry, Medina Spirit! Medina Spirit officially stripped of the Kentucky Derby win in 2021. Of course, Bob Baffert has gotten in trouble. Finally, of course, the poor horse is dead.
How many horses out of that stable have died under suspicious circumstances? And I'm sorry, but it's bullshit, the slap on the wrist Baffert got for this. Suspended, 90 days from Churchill Downs?
And it took this long to get it out.
The guy should be banned,
to get
period.
this all sorted out and investigated.
The guy is the poster child for scumbag.
And here's another thing. Dave and I have talked on this show over and over about how we're sick of the inundation of betting advertisements, betting apps, betting promotions. We don't bet. And you want to know why we don't bet? Because of something like this. The people that bet on Medina Spirit cheated, now stripped of the title and dead, still lose their money. And the horse that got bumped up as the winner, those people don't get anything.
No.
They lost their money betting on a horse that is now the official winner of the Kentucky Derby in 2021.
And
you want to put your money into this shit?
Good.
These corrupt sports?
No.
Going back to what we were talking about with the NBA, players sitting. Who's sitting? When are they sitting? If they're sitting. Or if they got a COVID mandate in the city they're supposed to be playing in. Kyrie Irving, he can't play at his home stadium, but he can play away. I mean, who is putting their money into this shit? Give it to your kids. Give it to your wives or your husbands. Give it to charity. Flush it down the toilet.
Light a cigar with it.
It's a better use of your money than betting.
Wipe your ass with it, for crying out loud.
Especially if we go into another toilet paper shortage. Who knows? We don't get toilet paper from the Ukraine, do we?
No, thank God. That would really chafe my ass.
The USFL draft. All three of you out there that know this occurred today and yesterday as we tape. Now, the USFL tried to make this as fair as possible, so they used a modified fantasy football snake system. There was a draft lottery, of course, to determine who got the first pick. Order. Michigan, I think, got the first pick. The Michigan Panthers. So. There was nobody in this draft that even Dave and I, being big-time football fans, really know except for two names. Remember Paxton Lynch?
Yes. Who was supposed to be the savior of the Broncos?
And you wonder why we rip on John Elway going through Brock Osweiler, Trevor Siemian, and Paxton. Paxton Lynch got drafted. Bear with me here. Paxton Lynch got drafted in the 12th round.
No!
By Michigan. Keep this in mind. The first round of the draft was all quarterbacks. Michigan had the first pick in the draft. And they picked another guy, I think, out of Michigan. University of Michigan.
Yeah.
So Paxton Lynch, former number one pick,
couldn't even
is a backup
in the USFL.
The only other guy whose name I recognize, Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh team in the USFL drafted Kyle Lauletta, who, I don't know if you remember him, he was drafted by the Giants, I think, in the 4th round, and he was supposed to be the heir apparent to Eli Manning.
Oh, God.
And I think he started one game.
One game and was gone.
Yeah. God-awful.
Yeah.
Gone. That's it. Those two names, Paxton Lynch, Kyle Lauletta. Outside of that, there was a guy who played for the Bears briefly who got drafted. But, I mean, this is going to be interesting to see how this works.
Yeah. Now, what's going to be intriguing is the XFL, who now have a partnership with the NFL to try out new rules and different things and to be a feeder league.
Now, let me ask you this, though. This is now an official, like you said, an official declaration. But if you look back at the first incarnation of the XFL,
how much tech did you get?
They were already feeder league. They were already a feeder league for the NFL.
Yeah. Just
the overhead camera on wires.
The spider cam.
Yeah.
Yep. The
XFL
is just
making official what we already knew.
Yeah. But now, we'll see if it takes. Because we all know NFL Europe flopped as a feeder league.
And yet we still have to put games over there multiple times a year to build the quote-unquote international audience, all of who hate us.
Basically, so what do we care?
Finally, it wouldn't be sports friendly if we don't have some kind of PC gender crap controversy. Here he is again. Leah Thomas, Ivy League champion, won the 500-yard freestyle. Now, on the flip side, Yale had Isaac Hennig, who went the other way. Won the 50 freestyle, going from female to male. But this all being said, and this has got to be the last time we got to talk about this. We've got to close the book on this. This is not fair.
No.
It's not right.
No, it's not.
And somebody finally brought up a very obvious point, which I loved. Oh, I love Shaquille O'Neal. So don't take this the wrong way, Shaq. We love you. We love Papa John's. If Shaquille O'Neal wanted to become a woman, seriously, you've got to take this seriously. I am really trying to be serious here. If Shaquille O'Neal wanted to have a vagina
and play in the WNBA,
is that fair? That's not fair. That is not fair.
Not on any level.
It's the same thing. The bone structure, the muscular structure doesn't change that much.
No, it doesn't.
All you're looking at is we've got to make the testosterone level
that doesn't
below
do
a certain
anything.
threshold.
That's bullshit.
You look at pictures of Leah Thomas, it's a dude. It's a dude. It's a dude taking female hormones to get below that threshold so he/she can compete as a woman.
Because it couldn't cut it.
Destroying the record books. Does it shock you, though, this is happening in the Ivy League?
Oh, hell no.
The liberal high thinkers of our society who think they're better than us, who know more than us.
It's the East Coast and the West Coast.
I will take flyover country any day.
Amen.
All right, moments of silence. Dave, you want to start off?
Yep. Julio Cruz, who was one of the original Seattle Mariners when they came into the league, also played infield with the White Sox during their 83 pennant run, passed away at age 67.
And then, of course, Charlie Taylor, Hall of Fame wide receiver for the Washington Redskins, goddammit. That's who he played for. Not the Washington football team, not the Commanders. He played for the Washington Redskins. Hall of Famer Charlie Taylor has passed away as well. So, of course, how could we ever cap off any episode of the Sports Frenzy 2.0 podcast without
There's only one way.
the Red Foreman Dumb Asses of the Week? We're not going to play Dumbass or Not this week.
No.
Don't have that many to discuss. I'm going to start off with one that Dave and I were talking about off mic right before we started taping. Phil Mickelson.
Oh, Phil.
I've heard a lot of rumors about Phil over the years where he puts on this great, wonderful, friendly face for the cameras, and he's really kind of a douche behind the scenes, and this will only serve to reinforce that. Of course, we all know last week he was talking about the Saudi Golf League and how he was going to be one of those guys to jump in and take the money.
Yep.
But the thing is, the quotes that were used in an upcoming autobiography, well, not autobiography, but biography of him, that the author is still sticking to and saying these were on the record, direct quotes, talking about how, yeah, the Saudis are tough to deal with. They're kind of, evil. They're awful people who killed the reporter Khashoggi, I think his name was.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to deal with them and take their money because I need to have leverage with the PGA Tour. Now, of course, all the backlash comes at
How
the
dare
negative.
you?
So now he says, I'm sorry, I regret those comments. I need to step away and get my life together and spend time with my family. Oh my God, you phony. You fucking phony.
Own it. See, yeah, I'm a greedy bastard. I want to get paid no matter what.
I'm greedy just like every other athlete that Sports Frenzy talks about
I
every
want
week.
my Saudi money that Tiger got for all these damn years.
Yeah, nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about that. Tiger has been the Saudis' bitch. Tiger has been the Saudis' whore for decades. But nobody gives him crap about it.
Nope.
But Phil, being honest, and he's wrong. He's absolutely wrong for what he said.
Completely.
And saying he's going to use it as leverage against the PGA Tour, admitting that he knows they're evil.
But it's going to take the money anyway. Just shut up.
At least Tiger's smart enough to just take the money and play and shut up. Phil, you're a dumbass for not being as smart as Tiger. I can't believe I'm saying that.
God help us. But it's true. All right. Former Major League player Josh Hamilton. The guy cannot keep his act together through all the years of substance abuse and everything. Pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor in a case arising from an altercation with his teenage daughter. He pled guilty to unlawful restraint under a plea deal to miss a 2020 felony indictment for injury to his teenage daughter, who claimed he struck her in an altercation.
Yeah, this guy was supposed to be the next great American redemption story. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh, he overcame all of his demons, his drug addictions,
yep.
and everything. And he relapsed and relapsed and relapsed himself out of the league. And here he is still not being able to control himself.
Yep. And you wonder why the Maestro is so distrustful. Is because sometimes you see
It
something.
Walks like a duck.
It is what it is. Yep. It walks like a duck and it talks like a duck.
Maybe it's a duck in a human suit. Watch The Peacemaker and you'll understand.
And of course, we will talk about season 1, our recap of season 1 of Peacemaker on the weekend edition. So check that out this coming Saturday morning. God, as much as it pains me to bring this asshole up again on Sports Frenzy, he's not even worth our time, but I need to keep calling him out because he is the most deceitful scumbag we have seen in the last decade in sports. Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick has now said he is going to somehow provide free secondary, quotes on that word, police-related autopsies. So if there is a shooting involving a police officer, he is going to find an independent person to run a secondary autopsy because he doesn't think we can trust the autopsies run by the municipalities, the cities, the states, the FBI.
The flip side of it also is what occurs in prisons. Deaths occurring in prisons, especially privately run prisons, I don't have a problem with him having secondary autopsies performed because those are shady places to begin with.
But I think he's talking more about the normal on the street.
See, now I was
calls.
reading that it was especially in the prisons.
Okay. I did not see that.
What I had read was about the stuff in prisons. That is the area that I think really needs to be closely looked at. I do not have a problem with that part.
Okay, because I was under the impression that he was talking about.
I think it's everything, but as far as the prison stuff, I don't have an issue with. We are dealing with
people who have tens of millions of dollars, and he does have tens of millions of dollars because of that ass nugget Phil Knight, who gave him that stupid Nike contract. I talked about this last week with Susan Sarandon. These celebrities, high-paid athletes, high-paid actors and actresses who can afford private security are trying to do everything they can to undermine the police, who we need. They don't need them, but we need them.
So it's going to cover, I think, everything.
I'm fine with the prisons, but I don't want them undermining.
They shouldn't undermine what
the men and women out there in blue who are doing their jobs, and I still think getting persecuted way beyond the call each and every day by PC assholes and paranoid dickheads like Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah. But I will say there are practices that do need to end. Those no-knock warrants, the guy who was asleep on his couch when the police entered and he came up with his gun to protect himself and was gunned down by the police, that I have an issue with. Because if they would have come into my house like that, my first reaction is, I'm going to pull a gun on whoever's breaking into my home.
No, and I completely agree with you. You see stuff on shows, and you sit there and you go, okay, you get kind of desensitized to it because you're sitting, well, it's only a fictional show. But there are things like you're talking about that really bother me that the police do. Like if somebody accuses somebody of a crime and they get a warrant, they basically have free reign to destroy your house, rip apart everything, tear apart your couch cushions, your seat cushions, and there's no ramifications.
And God forbid when they come into the wrong house, which happens more often than not.
Right. Yeah, so I was kind of trying to back you up there.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
There's a lot of shady shit that needs to be dealt with, too.
Yeah, nobody's saying we're dealing with 100% purity when it comes to the police, because there's no profession, priests, church, schools, teachers,
there are
police,
things that need to be
nobody's
cleaned up
100% pure. There's always going to be nasty, awful people in every walk of life, in every profession. But in the end, with what we've got going on in this country right now,
they need to be
police
backed up. You have to have them. There are things that need to be cleaned up, but the support for them has to be there.
Well said. So let's go from that to frozen penises, shall we? Remi Lindholm of Finland, Olympic cross-country skier, got a frozen penis at the Olympics.
Did he not wear his long johns?
They have to wear those tight suits, to make sure they're aerodynamic. And supposedly, he said, well, this has happened before.
I'm sorry. If my dick got frostbite, I would not be doing that again.
That's why I figured one time, okay. 2 times, you're a dumbass. Remi Lindholm, you've got to put some protection down there so your junk doesn't get frosted up. Okay? Good Lord.
I think we have our first time, 2-time sponsor of an episode. Oh, God.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, if you told me I was going to end up wrapping up one of our podcast episodes with a frozen dick, I probably would have said you're crazy. But then again, with the world we live in, here you go, kids.
And I had no idea this story was coming up this week when I recorded the promo.
He's the Conquistador, Dave Height.
He's the Maestro, Kevin Crane.
Glad everything has been resolved. We are back with you for a full episode of Sports Frenzy 2.0. Do not forget to check out a full glitch-free episode of the weekend edition.
Yep. Where I will once again attempt to give you my rundown of last week's concert.
Ghost and Volbeat. We will review Kimmy on HBO Max.
I've got Uncharted.
We're going to review Eddie Vedder's Earthling. So a lot of stuff.
A lot
of course,
stuff
we mentioned
coming up.
Peacemaker Season 1, the wrap-up on that. Great weekend edition coming up, kids, so don't miss it.
Yep. Drop us a line. Give us some feedback. Ask us a question.
Of course, all our NASCAR picks each and every week on our Facebook page. We always like to thank our platforms for carrying us. They do a great job.
Yep. Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher.
We still love you, Spotify, even though you put us through hell last week. We still love you. All right, kids, you have a great week. Check out the weekend edition. We will tell you what to listen to, what to watch.
It's all good. We'll catch you next week.
Say goodbye to the kids, Dave.
Goodbye to the kids, Dave.